The controversial City Park Golf Course drainage project cleared another legal hurdle this week following a Denver District Court judge ruling. Judge David H. Goldberg ruled on behalf of the city against activists who had claimed the plan to cut down close to 300 trees and shift the landscape was in violation of the city charter. Patty, we've been talking about the City Park golf course plans for a long time. This seemed like, I guess as quoted in the Denver Post, is the green light. Are activists done fighting this?
Oh, no, they are definitely not done fighting this, and there still are some suits outstanding. Interestingly, that was the part about the city charter was only half of their argument. They brought in the I-70 project and whether or not the city with this $300 million project was making it easier for CDOT and the I-70 project to avoid flooding where it's going to go underground, where they've got the lid on it. So that was part of it. And the judge ruled that that really wasn't within the scope of what he could determine, that he could only rule on the issues that involved did the project go against city charter and city zoning, and he decided no. But this is just the start of the fight. I mean, Candy C. DeBacca, who's very, very involved in Ditch the Ditch, just got a big award as one of the 100 urbanists to watch. There's another lawsuit still filed that they're waiting on, although they did take a hit this week also from the EPA. I mean, from another judge, because their suit, the Sierra Club suit against the EPA on I-70 and clean air, also got thrown out.
Wow. David, you're one of our two esteemed lawyers at the table. I guess for folks who don't follow all the details of the rulings, when they see something like this and they see a green light or legal hurdle, but there's other lawsuits out there, are we still a long way before legally Denver can start tearing up the golf course?
No, they're going to start cutting down trees probably almost as we speak. You know, as you said, well over 200 trees. Some of them not that big, some of them very old, are in their final days and better start making out their last will and testament. As Patty said, the plaintiffs provided a lot of evidence that this whole thing is really pretextual in terms of stormwater, in terms of what it purports to be, and is really motivated by the I-70 expansion. And for example, the city's master plan from 2014, before the I-70 expansion was on the table, didn't see any need to do this stormwater project at City Park Golf Course. However, the judge said, well, it's not my place to consider pretext and what may lie behind it. I just consider whether within the four corners of what they're doing, if it's legal. And he said that they've got a reasonable enough rationale because the Montclair Basin, one of the 20 drainage basins in Denver, has increasing growth, you know, more hard surfaces, so less dirt for water to drain into, and there is a need for it's got a real serious need in case of a 100-year flood for someplace for the stormwater to go, and City Park is a good choice because it's at the lowest part of that basin. He said in terms of, it's true that the city charter prevents parks being taken out of use without a vote of the people, but the judge said, well, having a golf course also be stormwater retention, the law gives the city the discretion to do it that way, so that's all right. And then there was pro and con testimony about the redesign of the golf course itself, and the judge was more persuaded by the city's experts, who seem to have more personal familiarity with the course, that this would actually, in pure golfing terms, be an improvement.
So, Penn, we've heard two different points of view. There's more suits to come. The fight's not over. The other side, and as David mentioned out, some of the trees are coming down probably soon, or as we speak, or at least soon thereafter. What do you think? Will there be action happening at the golf course, as in tearing things up, while these lawsuits are pending? Should people expect it not to be held back at this point?
Absolutely. City Park Golf Course is going to be shut down November 1st, and the city's going to start ripping it up. Because, you know, part of what you want to do as the city is, if you're bound and determined to do this, you want to get as much stuff underway as possible so that if at some point some court says stop, part of your defense is, well, we already started, and we're midway. The decision by Judge Goldberg is interesting in a couple of respects. First, and I agree with Patty, why the fighting may not be over, but it's going to go in a different direction, because what the judge ultimately ruled is, as a matter of law, I have to give great deference to the administrative decision or the regulatory authority of the city and county of Denver. And he said basically, specifically, Happy Haynes. Under the city charter, she's the manager of Parks and Recreation, and he basically said this may be the worst idea in the world, but it's within her prerogative to exercise her authority and do this. His opinion, while it ruled for the city and basically said, as a matter of law, I cannot say that the city is overreaching its legal authority to do this. Remember, his decision didn't say it was a good idea or the right thing to do. He just said, I can't say that the city doesn't have the authority to do it because under the charter and law, I think they do. But he noted a couple things that I think are going to be the impetus for ongoing fights. Number one, he commented on the fact that you are going to lose a lot of the natural canopy with all of these very senior trees and other trees being cut down, and no plan the city's contemplating now will replace all of the tree canopy on City Park Golf Course. So neighbors are going to respond to that. Number two, it was an interesting thing is City Park Golf Course now is one of only 2 golf courses in the country that is on the Registry of Historic Places. And there is a distinct possibility that this project will cause it to lose that historic designation. So it'll be one course, I think it's in Austin, that's left on the registry, which is another issue that neighborhoods have raised. So we'll see the court battles continue, but I think part of what you're going to see now is the battle move directly to the city council and administration level, and people going to Happy Haynes saying, you know, the court said this is within your discretion. Why are you going to do this to your own neighborhood?
Ramsey, let's go on that point. Does this become more of a PR battle for the city and the council, and rather than just waiting for the next lawsuit to come out?
I think it will end up being a PR battle. I mean, this is just one. This battle for City Park Golf Course is part of an overall battle when it comes to the I-70 expansion. Given the heated debates along that and how much controversy that's caused, this is, you know, even if this had been separate, it was going to be an issue. Now this is going to be wrapped up in all of this. I definitely see certain members of City Council using this as another tool to find support and try to hammer away at that I-70 expansion. Even if the court rulings are done, even if more appeals happen, and the courts decide that Denver has the right to do this, it's still not going to go away, especially with City Council. This is going to be something we're going to be hearing about probably as the trees are going down and then after.